Okay, hello crew. So my name is Kushi, as you may know, and I have been working on this project for quite some time, but now that it's complete, it's time to share my creative critical reflection on our movie opener, Affiliates. So let's begin. How does your product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? So our genre was a horror movie, and as you may know, horror movies are intended to evoke fear or scare an audience, which is what we try to do. Obviously, not everyone's gonna be scared, but it is what we try to create. It's what we intended to do. So conventions that we use that are very common in horror movies are the feeling of discomfort. So this can be seen throughout the entire opener as we use glitching effects, blurred vision, the use of makeup causing like creating like an eerie character. Um, Next thing, vulnerable main characters. Most horror movies have main characters that are in psychological, emotional, or mental distress, and we also show that with our main character Charlie. Non-diegetic ominous sounds. So throughout the opener, you can hear music, um, and this just intensifies the feeling that the audience should have. Jump scares, as you know, I did in fact jump scare um, as my character. And this is also very common when openers. Abrupt loud noises, this can be from also the ominous music as well as the diegetic sounds such as the screaming or the shutting of the car door. The supernatural, so for us that would be the ghost, and the high in emotions, so this would be the character's feelings. So, like I mentioned before, the physical appearance has nothing to do with our characters and the plot of the movie. It is more so the fact that they are teenagers going through the loss of their friend, and this can be representative to all teens around the world who have faced something like this, whether it be the loss of their friend, their family member. They can kind of relate to Charlie and even Asia's characters. Okay, next up. So, how does your product engage with audiences and how would it be distributed as a real media text? So, our movie opener, I feel like had a lot of engagement, especially for the first 2 minutes. Beginning the opener with a conversation, you're already hooked to some dialogue. And throughout that conversation, you can feel the emotions of the characters. And just as you are sort of getting into the conversation more, all of a sudden, boom, there's just a jump scare. And I feel like this concept worked really well for just a beginning opener, and I believe it will, and it has hooked an audience. In terms of distribution, if we want this movie to go major, we would have to get a distribution deal with a major company. This would involve us having to reach out and then figuring out whether they like it or not. So this might be trial and error. And then once we do settle on a company, we would then discuss different things such as contracts, pay, and how we would advertise it. Since starting the process of research, planning, filming, and editing, how have you grown as a filmmaker? What have you learned? What do you like? What do you dislike? What career might you want now? What career do you know you never want now? What is the journey you have taken as a filmmaker? So, definitely, I have explored a lot throughout this journey. I want to start off by naming my improvements. I would say number one, learning more about genres and just the specific conventions each hold. I knew just a brief bit about it, but the more research I did, the more in depth I was able to go and see how filmmakers are able to achieve a specific genre just by doing these small details. Finding and implementing audio, so being able to find copyright free audios, I feel like was a pretty challenging task, but it was very cool to see how people can create audios and then, just give them out to the world for free, which I really appreciate. The coloring, so coloring was definitely a fun exploration. I really did enjoy just trying to figure out how we could do the colors and talking to my team like, oh, should we make it more blue? Should we, you know, lower the saturation, raise it? How can we go about this? Adding effects, that was honestly just the icing on the cake. It was really fun just figuring out where the glitches should go, where the blurry movements, where the motions should change, just all those little things, even the grain, all of that was just fun to add on top. And I definitely think I improved in how I can implement them and how to not make them look like, oh, like why is there a glitch here? Why is there a glitch there? Like there is a reason for why it is there, and it doesn't like completely take over the whole screen. How did you integrate technologies, software, hardware, and online in this project? So the biggest software that I used was CapCut, and one of the big reasons is because it's the most accessible. Pretty much works on all devices, which was really good for editing on my laptop and then going to my phone, switching to my iPad. It just made it much easier. And especially when I had just quick ideas that I wanted to put on the um, editing software, I just did it really quick on my phone. Otherwise, I was working on my iPad or I was doing it on my laptop. And it's also very beginner friendly. The use of tools, it's very accessible and quick to kind of figure out. And if you don't understand it, you can just search it up really quickly and figure it out. That's one of the big reasons why I use CapCut. I also did use Adobe Express just because it's free for our school. So I thought, why not try it out? Didn't really like it that much, but I think it did have some help in bringing ideas together, which obviously is appreciated. Canva, I did use to make the title. I think that's a very big thing. That's part of our opener. The use of the graphics and the font was very major. Before I say my final goodbyes, I would like to thank everyone who has been through this journey with me, reading through all my blogs, watching my opener, and just seeing the evolvement of this movie opener. So thank you very much. Bye.